The Tigers lose yet another spring training game. We're going to go over the observations from it because it was actually on TV. And then we're going to do a player preview on Nick Maton all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Thank you for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. It's a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Alrighty, we are back yet again for another day because it's a daily show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I appreciate y'all so much. Let's talk ball because that's what we love to do here. So I think let's just start the show how we always start the show. Tigers drop the spring training game on Monday to the Boston Red Sox by a score of 7-1. The biggest thing, first and comfortably foremost, Justin Turner obviously was hit in the face by a Matt Manning fastball. That is awful. It's not fun to watch. That is everyone's top priority, and we are wishing him nothing but the best. The last update at the time of this recording is that he was aware and up and everything, but he was at the hospital and they were doing some repair on some tissue stuff. So hopefully it's just, hit him in the face. There's some blood and he's going to be okay. I think that would be best case scenario. So that's what we're wishing for. Wishing Justin Turner nothing but the best. And definitely just like it's spring, everyone's just trying to get some ABs and get worked up and get ready for the regular season. Nobody likes injuries in spring, especially ones that are as gruesome as that one. So first and foremost, wishing Justin Turner nothing but the best. On to the rest of the game. Tigers lost in very familiar fashion. And again, I'm not a big win-loss guy in spring training, but when there's a pattern, then you kind of start to raise your eyebrow. And the pattern lately has been really not great pitching. We will get into Matt Manning in a second. I do want to start with the offensive side of the ball because there was obviously only one run scored offensively, and that was Riley Greene. Took a ball about 900 feet for a home run, a solo shot. That was the biggest positive probably of maybe the entire game on either side of the ball for the Tigers, but certainly the biggest positive offensively. And yeah, he looks really good. The swing looks beautiful. He seems to be lifting the ball a little bit more in the spring, which is nice. Well, only time will tell. We need more of a sample size to really come to that conclusion for sure. But I'm happy with what I've seen so far. I think everybody is. Another thing defensively, really quick, Riley Greene in the corners again and Matt Vierling in center again. We just did our player preview on Matt Vierling yesterday. You can go check that out. But I love it. And that, again, that's not to say that I don't think Riley Greene should play 140 games in center field this year because I think he should. But I also think we should have some flexibility and some open-mindedness with it. And I don't think that he's this unmovable, like Kevin Kiermaier defensively center fielder. And so I think that there can be a lot of value that the Tigers can gain in a really big outfield. We've kind of been down this rabbit hole before. I don't want to talk about it too much. But I enjoy that, especially in spring when these games don't matter. Let's try some stuff. And so I liked seeing that defensively again. And Vierling made a really nice play in dead center field. Was kind of wary with the dimensions. It's a visitors' spring training park. And now, granted, Fenway is or their spring training facility is pretty much the exact layout of Fenway, which kind of helped their hitters. But it certainly looked a little wobbly out there at times, just getting used to the dimensions, but made a really nice athletic play and chased down a ball there at one point as well. So good defensively in the outfield, I thought. It was pretty. There was one play, Riley, kind of in between the two of them that Riley Greene probably should have had but didn't. But outside of that, I like seeing it. Speaking of Vierling, he had another really good game. Now, granted, again, we're talking about coming off of his player preview yesterday, how the difference between hitting lefties and righties for Matt Vierling. And in this game, Chris Sale started. Chris Sale is a lefty. Vierling usually hits lefties well. Now, Chris Sale is a really good lefty, so nice to see him still look pretty solid and comfortable at the plate there. Got another hit in this one. Drew a walk as well, I believe. So, yeah, two outfielders, two solid performances, I thought. Going around the rest of the diamond offensively before we get into the pitching side of things, Tyler Nevin was your starter at first base. He went over, but I don't think he looked overpowered, and he made a really nice play defensively at one point. Started a double play, so he looks comfortable over there. I think more and more, it's all going to come down to whether he can hit, really, at the end of the day. But it really would not shock me if Nevin had a really good spring and kind of found his way on this roster as a utility third baseman / safety valve at first base. Or even, I mean, if you're just directly comparing him to Torkelson, if Torkelson continues to struggle in the spring, maybe that's an even bigger conversation between Nevin and Torkelson down the road, but I'm not ready to go there yet. Just thought it was interesting. Nevin getting getting reps at first base. Also, Andre Lipsius subbed in to play first for the remainder of the game, the last few innings. That's something I've had my eye on as well. I love it. Any way to get Andre Lipsius into the lineup consistently, I am pro. I am a massive Andre Lipsius fan, the OBP king. And so I really like seeing him get some work and again, getting looks at first base, even though that's not traditionally what he's done in the minors. Kerry Carpenter, somebody I wanted to talk about really quickly. He's gotten off to a pretty slow start in the spring. This one, he went 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. Now, granted, they threw a lot of lefties at him, and he is a lefty. So, I mean, you're going to, for him, we talked about it, 2 weeks ago now? We did like a Badu versus Carpenter competition episode, and I said it was kind of going to be hard for both of those dudes to make this roster. And Carpenter has not hit very well so far. And again, 2 strikeouts on Monday. If Badu has the luxury of having a lot of other tools and a lot of other ways he can impact the game outside of the batter's box that Kerry Carpenter has not shown yet at the major league level. So he is going to have to turn it around here, or else Badu and maybe even Parker Meadows are going to pass him by in that conversation, and we could be looking at Carpenter starting the year off in AAA. Okay, that's it for the offense. Let's get to the pitchers that threw in this game. Matt Manning. Again, I just want to reiterate, Justin Turner, everybody's top priority. It's really unfortunate because he just had no command. I mean, Manning was just all over the place, and it certainly was not on purpose. And you know, I kind of feel bad for him just because that's hard to stomach. We see a lot of pitchers over the years, you know, if they cause a gruesome injury like that, it's kind of hard to recover from. And he did leave the game for a little bit there, and then it's spring training, so he came back in because that's cool. And he looked a little bit better once he went back out there. They said he was fixing something with his cleat too. I don't know how much truth there actually was to that, but he looked a little bit better. But I mean, really, the glaring takeaway from this outing for Matt Manning was next to no command. Like really, really struggled just putting the ball anywhere. At one point, before he had hit Turner, it was like a 4-pitch walk before that, and then 2 or 3 balls before hitting Turner as well. Like it was a solid 6 or 7 or 8, maybe even. I don't think it was 8, but 6 or 7 straight balls thrown. Before that, I mean, he was just all over the place. And again, like he threw a slider at one point that I really liked, and kind of got some swings and misses, did end with a couple of strikeouts, which I guess is a silver lining you can take out of it, that the stuff didn't look bad. I mean, he threw a really nice curveball I might have been to start off the game. One of his first few pitches was a curveball that I thought looked really good. And he did get some swings and misses, and he recovered, relatively speaking. But, I mean, the biggest takeaway is comfortably just the lack of command. So in 2 starts into Matt Manning's season, well, spring training, I will say, spring training season, he has won his first start in which the velocity was lower than what we're used to. And then in this start, he had 0 command. So we're going to need to see a big step forward taken from Manning relatively quickly here, or else there's going to be some conversation surrounding that. As well, as far as the relievers go, we will get into those right after I tell y'all about our friends over at LinkedIn. I'm glad we're talking about our friends over at LinkedIn again. It was a while. I don't know if we talked about them too much over the offseason, but we are now. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. So you can sign up and then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. Use simple tools like screening questioning to make it easier to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small business rates LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. Number one, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnMLB. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnMLB to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, everybody. Welcome back. Segment 2 here, Locked On Tigers. Talking about the spring training loss to the Boston Red Sox on Monday. Let's talk about the relievers. So we talked about Manning. Next out, it wasn't next exactly because again, Matt Manning left for an out and then or two outs maybe even and then came back. But Jason Streve pitched in this game, and I thought he was comfortably the best pitcher to take the mound in a Detroit Tigers uniform. Actually, Brennan White might have pitched before him, but regardless, Streve was phenomenal. Jason Streve looked great. 3 strikeouts in this game. He pitched one and a third, 1 inning, 1 and a third, something like that. Looked phenomenal. The stuff looked really good. That'll play in a big way, and I think he is certainly going to be in the mix for a bullpen spot, as a lot are. Again, I mean, if you're going to carry 8 relievers, even a conversation for 9, but if you're going to carry at least 8 relievers, I think there's only, we went through it a little bit yesterday, but there's only like 4 guaranteed bullpen spots really on the team right now. I think there's a lot of fluidity in this pen in this spring. So Streve having a really good outing is very good for the Tigers and very good for his stock. Let's talk about Brennan White. I think I skipped over him. I'm pretty sure he came out of the pen first after Manning. I was just really pumped I finally got to see Brennan White in a televised game. I've been telling you all that all spring. I'm very, very happy that I finally got to see him. The stuff looked really good. He has some command issues as well, but I really liked the stuff. And he got himself into a little bit of a jam there, but also still got some swings and misses when he needed them there at the end of the outing. And he only gave up 1 earned run, and he hung. I think it was a slider or some off-speed pitch he hung, and got taken into orbit there out in right field. But outside of that, again, still some command issues, very admittedly. And I am glad I got to see him pitch. And when it comes to the competition there in the bullpen, I think he's probably still just on the outside looking in. But again, with the amount of just the fluid situation that is that pen, I mean, anybody that goes on a hot streak could be looking a little bit differently. There was a mound visit at one point as well, and I'm pretty sure Fetter went out there and Fetter went back into the dugout and he got 2 swings and misses and got a strikeout and got out of the inning. So very nice to see there. The slider I thought looked really good when it was located well. It's just a matter of locating it well. Okay, cool. I really like Brennan White a lot. Really like him a lot. Again, if I had to decide right now, I probably still have him starting off the season in Toledo, but I really do like him and look forward to seeing him more throughout the spring. Mason Englert, the Rule 5 pick, got into some trouble as well, had some command issues. It seems to be a reoccurring theme lately, but did have a couple of strikeouts as well, got himself into a jam there, but made some adjustments. He also got BABIP'd a little bit. There was a couple of just kind of like weak hits, but definitely gave up some hard contact, definitely went over the heart of the zone at one point when he didn't want to. But I really like his off-speed stuff. I really do. And I think a lot of his specifically is going to come down to fastball command, because that breaking stuff and that off-speed stuff, it really will play. I'm a pretty big fan of it. So definitely someone else to keep an eye on for as well. Okay, cool. I think that's it for the spring training game. So let's transition now into Nick Maton's player preview. Okay. I really like Nick Maton a lot, and I'm really, really excited about what he brings this Tigers team this year. If you look at his numbers, I guess we can just start with his 2022 rather, season for the Phillies. He had a 250 batting average, a 341 OBP, and a 514 slug that was in 85 plate appearances. Okay. So not too many plate appearances, basically. He did have 131 plate appearances at the major league level in 2021 as well. Had similar batting average and OBP numbers, but the slugging percentage was noticeably different. He had a sub 400 slug in 2021, has a lot of experience in the minor leagues as well. So when looking at his numbers, the slugging percentage obviously jumps off the page. That's really solid. He had a 0.8 WAR in just 35 games for the Phillies, according to Fangraphs, which is a great number. I'm very pleased with that. 5 homers in those 35 games as well. But the thing that I like is not surprising to those who listen often. The walk numbers are really solid. Almost a 12% walk rate in the short stint in 2022. And it's not a fluke because he's had pretty much an over 10% walk rate at every single level of the minors. And I think that that's why this front office went after him and really wanted him to be a part of that Gregory Soto trade. 2022, AAA, 250 plate appearances, 13.6% walk rate. Great number. AAA in 2021, 63 games, 252 plate appearances, a 15% walk rate. 2019 in high single A and double A, a 10.7 and 12.5% walk rate. Like pretty much everywhere he's been, he's just drawn a lot of walks. And I really like that about him. And I really like his approach at the plate. Now, that being said, he also struck out a boatload last year, a 34.1% K rate at the major league level. And when you look at his minor league K rates, they're not nearly that high. But his 2021 season at the major league level, again, 52 games, 131 plate appearances at the MLB level in 2021, he had almost a 30% K rate. So that is one of his big adjustments. Is clearly in the minor leagues, he's walking a lot. I mean, the minors, his K rates are consistently under 20%. Like he's not striking out a lot. But we very much need Nick Maton to cut down the strikeout numbers while keeping those walk numbers high. Okay. Now, how are we going to do that? You might ask. Well, do I have some answers for you? Really, this is not me telling a lot of you guys something that you don't already know, because this has kind of made the rounds since we've acquired him. But this dude destroys four-seam fastballs and just straight up hasn't shown the ability to hit really anything else at the major league level so far. Last year, okay, four-seam fastballs, not even four-seam fastballs, any variation of fastball rather, a 406 batting average and an 844 slug. That is remarkable, as the kids say. All right. Now, when you look at the breaking and the off speed against breaking pitches, a 131 average and a 217 slug, and the off speed is a 118 batting average and a 294 slug. Okay. Much, much worse. Also, when you look at the whiff rates, breaking pitches, 45.6% whiff percentage, off speeds, a 50% whiff rate. That's 64 pitches thrown that were off-speed pitches and a 50% whiff rate. Those are alarmingly high. And the whiff rate on the fastball was under 20%. That's really solid. So very much, if you're looking for one glaring thing to pay attention to Nick Maton for this upcoming season, it's going to be where he slots in defensively, which we'll talk about after the break here. And in the batter's box, it's can he hit anything besides a fastball? And if he can, develop that and improve on that. We're talking about a dude who has a pretty darn good ceiling, in my opinion. Okay? All right, let's talk about that. But first, I got to tell y'all about, well, I don't know what. You're going to see, I guess, what I have to tell you about. We'll get back to the show right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back. Third and final segment here, Locked On Tigers. You like that pump fake? I thought I had another read in this episode, and apparently I didn't. So sorry to catch you guys sleeping there, but I I had a pump fake, y'all. All right, let's talk about Nick Maton. We talked about the offensive side of the ball a lot, and just the difference between the four-seam fastball versus anything not. He also, if you're looking for one pitch specifically, the slider, he actually saw more sliders than any other pitch last year, more than he saw any fastball last year. And the reason for that was because he couldn't hit it. He had a 118 batting average against and a 176 slug against the slider at damn near 50% whiff rate. I think it's just under 49%. And that's the pitch he saw the most last season. So again, if you're talking about adjustments, we really need to see some developments in that. Okay, but let's stop beating that dead horse. If you're looking at some other positives that you can take from him, something that was really interesting to me was he had a 948 OPS, or in his major league career period, I guess this is including 2021. He has a 948 OPS in at-bats in which he swings at the first pitch. How weird is that? And it's even more weird because this is a dude that draws a lot of walks, right? And that has translated to the MLB level. Again, a walk rate over 11% last year. So that was kind of fascinating to me. In 74 plate appearances at the major league level, he has swung at the first pitch. It's not a tiny sample size. It's not huge, but it's not a tiny sample size either. And to have that high of an OPS on, my guess is that he just sits fastball pitch one. And if it's not a fastball, he's just spitting on it, kind of no matter where it's at. And if it's a fastball over the heart of the plate, he's gripping and ripping. And so I think that that's probably the reason for that. But regardless, it's been successful. I'm all for it. Why not? I also think it's important to point out, we talked a lot about splits, righty-lefty splits with Vierling yesterday. Maton, in the same breath, he is a lefty that at the major league level so far has not struggled against left-handed hitting and actually has a higher OPS against left-handed starters than right-handed starters. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure, and that we hope maintains, because that's awesome. The lower platoon risk, the better for a lot of those situations. Let's talk about defensively really quick, and then we'll get into the role on the team this year, and then we'll get you out of here. So defensively, he played second base, he played third base, he played shortstop, he played left field, and he played center field at the major league level in the last 2 seasons. The only position where he was like a really big minus defensively was shortstop. The rest, he was all around net zero, whether it was just negative or just positive. And, sure, like, cool. He's not going to play shortstop here. So, like, not a very big deal. But something to keep in mind, as well as he kind of will probably play some corner outfield and will certainly play a lot of third base. So let's talk about his role on the team. He has the ability to end the year as the Detroit Tigers starting third baseman. That's really, it's as simple as that. He has it, I don't want to say tailor-made, like other dudes are going to get an opportunity there, but he's going to have every opportunity to be this team's everyday third baseman by the end of the season. And just to recap everything, I think he's going to give us solid defense. I think he is certainly going to crush fastballs. At least I hope he continues that trend. The next step in his development is vital. This is a huge, huge year for him. He needs to hit non-fastballs, as we've said a million times. And if he can take steps forward and hit even 2 pitches, I think that's a successful season. I'm not even asking for him to just turn around and be able to hit everything as well as he hits the fastball and just be like the best hitter on the planet. If he can even just make adjustments and hit changeups and fastballs, or if he can even make adjustment and hit fastballs and sliders and not have the pitch that he sees the most be his worst pitch against, right? If he can even do one pitch added to that group of, I hit this pitch even relatively well, and then I crush fastballs, I think there'll be a lot to build on there. And I think we can really kind of pencil him in as a part of the future of this team. At his worst, he's going to end up being just like a super utility guy that will always have some value because of his versatility. He has sneaky pop, and he has power against fastballs, and he can draw walks. So he has tools that will always lead to him having some value. But I mean, truly, at best, if he takes those steps developmentally at the plate, I mean, you're talking about your everyday third baseman by the end of this season. And we're having a conversation about what the future of third base looks like and how much stock we are going to put into Maton. And I'm sure, you know, where does the truth lie? A lot, it's somewhere in the middle. And I think that this is a very fluid conversation that we will be having a lot as the season goes forward. And I'm sure that everybody has a different opinion on Maton and where he kind of falls into the mix with the Tigers going forward. I'm really excited to watch him play. I think he's got some dog in him. I think I don't. He's a ball player. Like, you watch him in spring, I get really excited watching him on the field, man. I'm really pumped to see more of him. I'm really excited about what he can do this season, and I'm really excited about what adjustments developmentally he already has taken and is going to continue making as the season goes along. And new hitting staff. Got a lot of new voices in there, and he never heard the voices from the previous regime as far as hitting coaches go, so it'll all be new to him regardless. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm feeling good about Nick Maton. So we'll see kind of where he falls into that going forward. Okay, cool. I think that's all I got for you. Thank you for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Okay, that is it, I think. Yeah, I think that's all she wrote. We will be back tomorrow, as always. Tomorrow's episode, I don't want to jump here and say anything before it's like officially official, but we should have a guest on tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Either way, we will be back tomorrow. So I'll see y'all then. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.